anyway, what I was talking about earlier is the fans out there. They're experts in their chosen field, and we have had a couple people now since we mentioned the scarcity of pictures of the Green Shadow. And of course, folks, this revolves around the stunning release of my brand new upcoming book, Heroes and Friends, Pro Wrestling Remembrances. It's Saturday, October 11th at noon Eastern at JimCornette.com. We talked about it last week on the program, Brian and I. I'm proud of it. It's my little baby I'm seeing grow up and go off to college or to your home. For my child is growing up to go to people's homes for money, Brian. But that's part of it is we talked about, I did a chapter on Pat Malone, the Green Shadow, who only listeners of this program have heard anybody talk about in ever on wrestling podcasts, but who, in effect, and I make the case in writing here, built the Tennessee territory. It was its first great star when it was originated. As the Green Shadow, he had this incredible sellout streak and this incredible main event run, and it lasted for years and years in multiple cities. And in trying to put this thing together between Scott Teal in Nashville and, bless him, Chris Swisher, who has one of the biggest vintage wrestling photo collections known to humanity, we can find only on posed photos, and I'll get back to that in a second, but posed photos of the Green Shadow during his main event run from 1940 until 1948, 3 different posed pictures taken at the same photo shoot. And two of those at least, have been preserved only because they were in newspaper advertising at the time. It's like he went out of his way because so much of the draw that he had for such an incredible stretch of time and all the riots he caused and et cetera was because people wanted to see who he was. They had apparently fooled the people enough that nobody knew who this fucking guy was. There was no internet in those days. And for years they milked it. And there was one dead giveaway about Pat. When you looked at him, even if he had a mask, he had the thickest eyebrows known to man. And you could just tell if the trained eye, if you knew what you were looking for. But a couple of our listeners have sent in pictures of, I found another picture of the Green Shadow. Well, in one case, I believe it was Pat as the Green Shadow, but it was a newspaper picture, in-ring action of him with his head behind the opponent that he's wrestling. And another one is of Pat Malone, but in his later years when he was wrestling one of his bears, one of Ginger the Bears, because you can tell it wasn't the original run. He had identifying tattoos on his arms. So during his big main event run for those years, he wore long sleeves on his outfit. But when he got to be 50 and he's like, fuck, I'm doing this now every once in a while, under the hood, he just didn't wear the sleeves. You could see the tattoos. And sometimes, Brian, there are pictures where they didn't have a picture of the Green Shadow and they had to advertise him. So they just took some generic masked guy picture. Or even, as you pointed out the other day, somebody had just taken a black marker and drawn a mask on this, whoever this fucking guy was.
Yeah, I've seen that in like Pfeffer programs for Tony Santos, where
yes,
they're listing like wrestlers who either will be coming in or wrestlers that you're supposed to know from the past or wrestlers that Jack Pfeffer can bring in. And it'll be like, various takes on wrestlers' names and people who later became famous wrestlers. And then it'll be just like a drawing of someone. It'll be just like a drawing of a mask. You're like, that's not even a real mask. What is that?
Or he would cut a picture of a belt out of another picture of a guy and paste the belt loosely around the waist of the guy he was pushing. But anyway, we don't do any of that in this book, by the way. Again, heroes and friends. And it's not just all obscure folks, but it's people that have unique and fascinating stories that I had personal interactions with at various points in my life from the time I was a teenager. It's part biography, part historical perspective, and part personal interactions. But Bobby Heenan, the Sheik, Bruno Sammartino, Ray Stevens, the Dream Machine, Paul Bearer, Vader, Boo Bradley, aka Balls Mahoney. I'll always think of him as Boo. Sputnik Monroe, Lance Russell, Ron Wright, and Pat Malone, and some of my photography, some of stuff in my collection, Brian, some of the stuff in your collection, much of it never before seen, some of it hadn't been seen in years, and lots of it's in full color. And they can be autographed for $24.95. Buy 10 of them, ladies and gentlemen, and you've got your entire Christmas shopping done for your entire social circle that likes classic wrestling. JimCornette.com, Saturday, October the 11th at noon Eastern. And thank Hotchkiss Featherbottom also for his wonderful assistance in the scanning of my negatives, as we have been praising so many times. Now I got to go back and just have him do that to everything. He's given me a pain in the ass. He likes to sleep every once in a while, Brian. I'm not sure about these employees that like. That's the good thing about George Laurinaitis, our new artist.
That ain't his name. That ain't his name. Oh no. No.
He doesn't sleep. He never sleeps. He's always up drawing the picture. That's why our clip turnaround on the YouTube channel, for those of you who consume us on YouTube, hopefully you're wearing your monitors. It's boom because he doesn't sleep. He's up all night because night is day, and I am we, and we are all together.
You're saying
thank you, George Laurinaitis.
Well, there you go. His name again, not Laurinaitis though. George Livinitis, who's been our fine
That's what I said.
Artist in residency for the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Go and subscribe. Full episodes, clips, omnibuses, and George has been doing a bang-up job. And some of other guest artists, and we'll have more guest artists. I know a lot of people have submitted their art. There'll be more people, more art styles you'll be seeing in the future.
More people, more art.
But George has been doing a great job, and we really do appreciate it.
You know what you call a guy with no arms and no legs hanging on the wall? Art. You know what you call a guy with no arms and no legs?
You keep going.
You know what you call a guy with no arms and no legs sitting on the porch?
What's that?
Matt.
That's awful. That's awful.
All right.
What do you say to a woman with no arms and no legs?
Well, nothing. She won't come anyway.
Nice tits.
Oh, I think I mixed up the other punchline from the other thing.
I don't know. Maybe you mixed up the punch bowl. I don't know what's happening here this week.